It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Take a look in the 5 and 10, it's glistening once again, with candy canes and silver lanes aglow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store. But the prettiest sight to see was the holly that will be on your own front door.
All right, so we're talking Christmas tonight on TV Ate My Dinner. My name is Sean. I'm your host. I'm here with Andrew and Lynn. I don't know why it's that hard to remember. It's the smallest group of
who's here today? Oh, you got to remember which one of us to give priority to.
Yeah, maybe that's it. We have such weird politics. Lynn goes last.
Are you going in like Are you going in like miles order, proximity order?
Lynn gets the and. That's what she wants. And special guest star.
I always go last.
Yeah, you're featuring. Yeah, and featuring.
Special appearance
all the way from Australia.
It's beginning to
Our
look
resident Roo fighter.
like Christmas.
You should do the WWF intros for us one day. That'd be great.
I think mine are lazier than that. That'd be like Friday, Andrew the Bone Crusher. The douche.
The douche.
Nick Kroll's on everything and he's so funny. Alright, okay, so we're going to talk about... We didn't get to do a Halloween episode this year. We just didn't. For many reasons,
I watched all these horror movies.
Well, at least, we're going to recycle some of that because we're going to be talking about Christmas-themed horror films tonight. So that'll be a fun one for us. I have a list of...
recycling, I figured out I actually watched half of them last year because we were going to do these last year as well, so I didn't have to watch quite as many.
Nice. Laying the groundwork.
I have not.
That's what we call prep work here at TV Ate My Dinner.
Oh, maybe I have. I don't know. I don't know what the list is. Maybe I have it.
Well, I'd watched Black Christmas before, and I didn't realize until I started watching it. I was like, I know these foul-mouthed hoes.
This is a fun game I used to play with Brooks, where he would just tell me the story of horror movies, and it would be more interesting than when I went to watch them. I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. And then I was like, yeah, this is not good watching it, but...
I had that all through high school. I wasn't actually allowed to watch horror movies. My parents wouldn't let me. So my friends would just come and describe them to me, and I would be like, that sounds like the best movie ever. I actually thought something happened in Blair Witch.
I just saw the new Blair Witch, this past week.
Oh,
I didn't see that. I haven't seen that. Oh, no, I did see that. I did see that.
Nothing happens.
It's about the same as the first.
Oh, man, don't. I like the first Blair Witch.
Just giving it the whole
I like the
away,
first Blair Witch, too, but I just don't think you can revisit it. They did their best in this one to revisit that.
They literally remade it. Yeah, that's kind of what they tried to do.
So that they have fancier
cameras and things. It doesn't have the same magic,
because
back in the day it was like the first found footage that had become that widely popular, and it was a whole thing. It was very new, very interesting, and they kept their kids away so we didn't know that they were real and everything like that. There was so much mythology surrounding it. Now
something
it's just
about
remake.
film and analog, like film and tape, like the analog kind of media work better when they say, we found these memory tapes and like whatever. I don't even know what they call them, memory discs and things. It's so weird feeling. It's like you didn't find a digital memory disc and just lying around
now
in
you
a
can't
tree.
do that. Yeah,
that wouldn't
it doesn't work
play.
anymore.
So it loses some of its mythos.
It's a little bit more believable these days that everything's on film, though.
Yeah, that the people are filming. You never even have to ask, because people would. I don't even know why you guys have the premise that we're making a documentary. Why didn't you just have a bunch of idiots run into the woods with their phones?
He's like, we found these phones.
Pretty much any paranormal activity style movie could just be done based on all of the filming people just do in public spaces these days.
This footage was gathered from 200,000 hours of footage gathered from two
It's
iPhones.
from a bunch of 15-second Instagram clips. We just clipped them together.
We spent the last 20 years piecing this together into a narrative.
That's called reality television, isn't it?
Yeah.
Piecing together a narrative out of unrelated footage.
So what?
Well, The song I was trying to tell you about earlier that's on Gretchen's Christmas playlist is called Chiron Beta Prime. It's about having Christmas with our robot overlords.
I'll have to check that out.
Robots don't love Jesus.
Well, I mean, robot Jesus.
Yeah, they like robot Jesus just fine. Come on. But Black Christmas is on my list just because we were recently going through like a bunch of internet lists of best horror movies, and you're always looking at them to see, how far off they got on some of them. But there's always somebody that says The Witch. It's like, it just came out. Settle down.
I don't know. I found The Witch very difficult to get into. I know that was like
it was interesting.
Part of its charm to a lot of people, but I didn't have the brain power for it the day I was watching it, and I sort of put it aside. I said, I'll come back to this one.
Well, I certainly wouldn't categorize it as being one of the scariest movies because of that. It is very sublime and it's interesting, and it does have some moments that of payoff that I think make it work.
Oh, when I was watching, I thought it was more interesting as a character study than a horror.
Well, that's more like what it is, yeah.
I think a lot of these
So
films
it
just
is
suffer from
interesting.
bad marketing when people are like, well, call it a horror. People like horror these days.
Well, it's about a witch. I could see how it got pigeonholed.
Horror is one of those strange genres, though, that encompasses a lot of different things. It doesn't necessarily mean scary. It might mean just it has thematic points that
or it could have occult
might not be
ideas.
mainstream.
Yeah. Oh man, but that was pretty good. But anyway, Black Christmas kept popping up on all these lists, and like I keep hearing about this movie, like it's one of the great, and they're like, yeah, it's like the original slasher movie. It created all these tropes, and like, really? Like, yeah, Halloween was conceptualized as a sequel to Black Christmas. So, like, really? Never heard any of this. So we watched that this weekend, but we were very happy with it. It's actually a really good movie. I was surprised.
It kind of works better as just a slasher film. It's not really a Christmas movie, apart from
No, it just
using the idea of Christmas
happens
as
at
being
Christmas,
a time when
yeah.
there's not a lot of people around.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of these
so
things. It's like a
Christmas
Christmas
isn't really
movie,
themed,
like Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Well, it's a Christmas movie like Halloween's a Halloween movie,
Yeah, well, that's all you need, though.
It's just called Halloween.
But it's called
that's kinda why it
Christmas, so I do like. It would have made it more fun if Halloween were a sequel to Black Christmas. It's just like this asshole comes around every time the holidays. But what I like about it is like the basic concept they say was like John Carpenter talking to the director of Black Christmas, say, "What would you do if you did a sequel to that movie?" And he's like, "Oh, I wouldn't do a sequel to the movie, but if I did, I think Babysitters or whatever." And then they say, "Well, then he took that idea and ran with it." But
Well, I like it because a lot of the movies that you get in that time period, because they are based around babysitters and teenagers, are a lot more sanitary. Whereas this one, they're all college-age people, so there's a lot of swearing and rudeness, and
just being very crude
especially
ladies.
from that main character.
No, yeah,
Very crude ladies.
Margot Kidder. No nudity. That's something
she's awesome.
they didn't do in this one. But yeah, she's great in that.
Yeah, no,
and
I don't-
she must have been 40 her whole life. Like, she looks the same in that.
Yeah, she does.
But that was a good one. And what I thought was funny
It's
is,
a fairly enjoyable one.
if John Carpenter was like playing off of this idea, then he played off of it in a clever way, because he sort of flips the whole idea. Because in this, like, the guy's in the house, he's crazy, he's like talking to him, they don't know who the killer is, all this stuff. And it's the opposite in Halloween. Like, they tell you who the killer is at the very beginning of the movie, and he doesn't say a word. He's a silent stalker. It's like he's a completely different kind of stalker. So he creates a different mythology.
When you watch it these days from the perspective of having watched all of the other slasher movies, you kind of go, it's a bit, it's the same as all the other slasher movies. It's got a couple of different things, like it's got the when a stranger calls, he's in the house the whole time, and the police trying to rescue
Which I did
people.
not know began with this movie.
Yeah, but when you realise it later on, you kind of, this is the original one, and then it becomes a lot more interesting because you can see where all these tropes come from.
Mm-hmm. Like a very same twist. The calls are coming from in the house. It's like, yeah, but that's only a surprise to them. We know because we see the killer in the attic. So I guess when they made When a Stranger Calls, they're like, we could probably get a little bit more mileage out of this twist than that. So they built a whole movie around it.
And I like it because it's also one of the original, like, he's just a weirdo. He's just there in their house. He turns up, they don't know it. He's just hanging around inside the house. That's one of he's been there for ages. It's a basic primal fear that there's someone in your walls.
Inside the sound booth of their attic. I mean, he's screaming bloody murder on the phone and they can't hear him. Because he's calling from a separate line inside the house.
All sorts of weird things on the phone. Like, he doesn't just breathe into the phone or just go, I'm going to kill you. He actually has some really disturbing things to say to them on the phone.
Prepared material. Yeah, he puts a lot into it. And he is creepy
like
as
he's been
hell.
listening to morning DJs or something. He's really creepy.
Yeah.
He's more creepy than some of the other ones who are just playing off the Mike Myers silent guy stereotype. Like,
Or even like a Freddy Krueger.
actually
He's
got some
not
personality.
funny or anything. He is just creepy as hell. I like this. This would be scary if you got this phone call.
he's properly disturbing.
It's not
And
fantastic.
they have a group of fairly interesting girls that we watch all have interesting ends as well. I thought some of the kills were pretty cool.
Yeah, and just the whole thing was really well shot. The way that they track through that house, it feels claustrophobic. And some of the you can tell some of those tropes, like the POV shots that they do with him sort of stalking outside the windows. Like there's a lot of
I kind
stuff.
of feel it has much more interest as an original slasher movie than as something to do with Christmas.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think much of them have anything to offer in terms of being Christmas movies. I wouldn't watch these with the kids, any of them.
Krampus, show them Krampus.
Krampus is the closest.
Scare the Christmas into them.
You know, if they don't take to nightmares, because Krampus. Now, Krampus, I really liked. This is the one that came out in the theaters a couple years ago. There's like a million Krampus movies now that they've done. But this is.
I've watched quite a few of the bad Krampus movies as well.
Yeah, some of them are
There are some funny ones.
pretty bad.
The one with the horny Krampus was pretty funny.
I don't know that I saw that one. I saw the Krampus Unleashed, where they're just out in the desert, and I think they just decided at the last minute to say it was Krampus, because the movie otherwise was garbage. Like, well, we could brand it. But the only
we'll just call it a Krampus movie.
the only other one I saw that
the
I
one
thought
I watched, the other one I watched was the Krampus Pedophile. Did you see that one?
no, that sounds terrifying.
It was like
though.
from his childhood, and it was a pedophile, and you couldn't really tell who the baddie was because Krampus was going around murdering all these people that were clearly the worst kinds of people. And then Saint Nick was coming along and being like, "Why have you got all these children in cages? This one wasn't naughty. Oh wait, this one's gonna be naughty. All right, kill this child. But that lady, why has she got her boobs out?" Like Saint Nick was just this hilarious, angry older man dude, just yelling at Krampus.
Find this movie. Is it called Krampus the Pedophile?
I don't. That's not what it's called.
Krampus.
Krampus the pedophile. No, but it was
Pederast.
there was like a pedophile
Child
element to it.
molesting
8-year-olds, dude.
I watched it last year. I can't really remember
8-year-olds.
that well, but he was
Did you,
it was
he's
he's going after pedophile from some guy's childhood or something like that. I don't know.
When The Rock was on Saturday Night Live and they were doing like the evil awards of all these evil supervillains, and he's like, "I built a robot that
Oh,
molests
God, yeah.
children." And they're like, "Whoa!"
They're like, oh God.
Really?
It's like, isn't this kind of the thing?
I mean, we're going for evil, right? It's like,
It is.
Yeah, but
It's called the most evil invention in the world.
it's just so uncomfortable for everyone. That's what it feels like. Whoa, we said it's like that Freddy Krueger thing. We said he kills kids. So he's not a weirdo. Come on. Don't make it something weird.
Yeah.
He just murders children.
Just murder.
Did you see Christmas Horror
Nothing too
Story?
bad. No, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, that one.
I didn't know it was a thing until last night.
Oh, I thought I mentioned that one of my earlier emails. That one
You
is
probably did. I don't know what
probably
this is.
better than Krampus. I don't know. I really like Krampus, but you might Christmas Horror Story may be up your alley if you thought Krampus was too hokey. What didn't you like about
hokey
Krampus?
is one word. Pretty much everything. I hated everyone in it. I know that was kind of the point. But I thought the pacing was really badly off. None of the things were even the slightest bit scary. It's supposed to be a black comedy, and I didn't find it scary or funny.
Oh, that's bad. No, I guess I enjoyed it.
The ending
more than
was
you
the
did.
worst. The ending was terrible.
Really? I liked the ending. You don't like the fact that they're
Really? It's
all
like-
damned for eternity together on
It's like,
Christmas?
oh, everything's okay. No, maybe
No,
they're
it's
all
even
dead
way
for all
worse.
eternity.
Way worse.
And the amount of time it took to get there. Like, how many times was the shitheel uncle dead? Like, he died about 50 times in the movie.
I guess it just
then
reminded
suddenly-
me of Gremlins. I enjoyed it. Because that's Michael
Well,
Dougherty,
like
the
this-
guy who did Trick or Treat.
Yeah, spoilers, but this sister dies in 10 minutes, and then there's a bunch of red shirt little kids that die throughout the movie, I guess, and then nobody else dies until the very last, and then they all just get sucked into the snow, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, we didn't get a chance to have any interesting things happen, because And it was also really confusing. Halfway, I didn't even know what was going on part of the way through because I was like, are these ginger men killing people? Or these guys were turning up and then we were shooting at them. Are they dead? And then there's elves. Why are there elves? It really, really confusing as to where and what was happening half the time.
I don't know. I guess I didn't have those problems with it.
Did you actually pay attention to the movie? Maybe that was my problem.
That's what I was about to ask you. I didn't have any
Maybe I
trouble
didn't do
following
that.
it. Yeah.
But maybe I just switched off because the beginning was just so... People were so insufferable. And I was like, I just hope these people die and I get to watch them die graphically. And then... Dang it, if they weren't coming together as a family and trying to fight...
Well, I enjoyed it. I think you should watch Christmas Horror Story, though. I feel bad that you haven't seen that then, because that has Krampus in it too, and I can't really go into details because there's so much fun stuff. But it's more like Trick or Treat in that it's sort of an anthology where it has a wraparound. Where
I did like Trick or Treat.
Well, it feels more like that because it's not by the same people that did that, but the wraparound story is like Santa at the North Pole and all of the elves start turning into zombies for some reason. So in between these other stories where they tell them like these people are being hunted by the Krampus demon or these people are in a haunted high school or whatever, or in one story they bring home a changeling instead of their kid from a Christmas tree lot. But in the middle of all that, every now and then you just see Santa just slaughtering all these little elves as they one all go bad. And it is graphic.
I do need to watch
it might
this
have
now.
the payoff that you're looking for because it's graphic as hell. And I just loved that.
It's not that I needed to be more graphic. It just didn't... I didn't feel anything except bored that it was still on.
Yeah, that's what you want to hear. I was just sorry it wasn't over.
I was bored. I was watching this.
Yeah, just in quotes. Is this
Sad
still
it took
on?
so long to end. Well, maybe I was also annoyed because I felt like it had the potential to be really interesting, and it just never really did anything with what it was working with.
Well, we enjoyed it.
Man, when you have all these really cool villains and most people die by being sucked into the snow, you're wasting your potential.
Well, I think that comes to them wanting to sort of leave it open as to whether they're going to get out of it or not. That's another reason you don't see the deaths, because at first you're like, are they just, are they going to come back? Is this going to be fine? And he even has that moment at the end.
Cake and eat it too, and there was no cake.
Cake is a lie.
Yeah.
Oh, you went and did it.
Call back.
Trying not to go to the old cake is a lie joke because it's been killed so many times.
Well, now it's retro.
Yeah.
So we're allowed to do it again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what when you get to my age, you get to do everything.
The Christmas cake is a lie. Oh, you talk about that like you're old.
And defense no, yes.
Sonny boy, when you get to my age.
Well, when you get much older than me, people aren't going to age at all anymore. It's going to come to a point where 45 or 50 is about as old as anybody ever is.
Wouldn't it be sucky to be stuck as the older person when we stopped aging?
Mm-hmm. They couldn't figure out how to reverse it, so you just get to be 90 forever.
Yeah, you get to be 90, everyone else is sitting at mid-30s or 20s.
Just leave it. Are you sure you don't... Yeah, just throw the dirt on me. You don't want to be 90 for a couple hundred more years? Where no one has the right to die by choice.
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh, those
was
are
probably
great.
my favorite.
Silent Night. How many of them did you watch? Just the first one?
I only got the first one, and it was so funny. I watched it twice. I actually stopped it and went back and watched it again so I could get Red to watch it with me.
Oh, it's awesome. It's good.
It's so
Linnea Quigley goodness in that. It's one of the classic cool. And that one is... I remember when I was a kid when the commercials came on for that and everyone was flipping out because it was just showing Santa coming down the chimney with an axe. And kids are freaking out. This is playing on television.
I really liked it because it plays as a slasher flick, but unlike most of them, you know who the killer is from the beginning. You know his motivations from the beginning. You know what's going on, and you're on board.
Oh, yeah. It's
all good.
He's the protagonist that follows him through the film.
This kid, for the spoilers, his parents get killed by Santa. He grows up, goes psycho, innocent in a suit, and kills everyone. Simple as.
And it works.
Works really well.
They do a second
But
one
really
where it's
empathize
just
with
like
it.
his brother going through the same thing. That one's not as
I
interesting.
I was wondering if the brother would show up.
I'm trying to think of how many of these movies, because they made several of them, because after a while they just did sort of an anthology
So many of them.
direct-to-video deal. But
I really empathize with this movie because where I work in a shopping centre, and right across from my shop is the Santa place where the kids go and get their photos taken. I hear a constant stream of screams and wails from poor children whose parents are forcing them to sit on this stranger's lap. And the whole rest of the year, you're told, don't go near these strangers, they're bad for you, and suddenly they're chucked on this guy's lap.
and
And
then
he's
go to
sitting
that
there trying
guy
to make
who
them all
can't
smile
get a
and
job anywhere and sit on him.
Go sit on the funny guy who smells
waiting,
weird.
so get going.
And they're just
Christmas
screaming. And it's just like, yeah, no, I can. There's a bit in the movie where they're trying to make the kid sit on the Santa's lap, and he's freaking out, and he's just like, "I'll come to your house and I'll kill you." I'm like, that's Santa's got it going. Yeah, he knows what it's like.
I'm trying to remember if it's part 4 or part 5, but there's one called The Toy Maker that you really need to check out before this Christmas if you can, because it's just it's a fun movie for all ages.
Well, hopefully
These are
we
all
get
in the
to
Silent Night,
get
Deadly
next
Night
Christmas and do more of these.
franchise.
Yes, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Not to be confused
Yeah,
with all
highly
the
recommended.
weird, cheap knockoffs, because that's like a Z-grade franchise, but there are a lot of movies that came up with a Silent Night.
Well, we knew it was going to be an awesome movie from right at the beginning, where the little kid's visiting his grandpa who's comatose, who wakes up for 2 seconds just to warn him, Santa will kill you if you're naughty. And like, grandpa just turns to him and he's like, "You're not scared of Santa? You should be." And he's like, "Dad?" He's like, "No, Santa brings you toys. Did your father tell you that?"
And then he just
Santa's
goes back
gonna
into a
kill you.
coma.
It's the best.
That movie's awesome. Well, the one that has Mickey Rooney in it as the toy maker is really, really fun and weird.
Ugh, Ricky Rudy.
So I would check that one out. Let's see, what else is good? That's a good choice. I try to watch a different Silent Night, Deadly Night movie every year. Oh, Elves! Did you see Elves?
No.
This one, I don't even know where you'd find it. You'd probably have to look for it, used by alternative means. Maybe it's on YouTube. But is Dan Haggerty...
Netflix doesn't have a great selection.
Not of this level, because certainly not in movies that never made it to HD. You're not going to find on like Netflix or something. But I think what we were watching was an old VHS rip of it. But Dan Haggerty, the guy who played Grizzly Adams, he plays the Santa Claus guy in it. But it's a more stripped down concept at first, because at first it's like, okay, so he's a guy who's down on his luck, and he's the storefront Santa, and then a whole bunch of business goes down at the store overnight. You're like, okay, I get you. It's like the store's attacked by elves. So like, wait, what? Like, yeah, genetically engineered by Nazis. Wait, what?
Oh.
This is the best movie in the world.
I need to watch that one.
That's an awesome movie. Hope I didn't give away too
You had
much.
me at genetically engineered by Nazis.
Why wouldn't they? Yeah.
Of course, that's what the Nazis did.
They did all
Were
kinds
they
of
trying to
stuff.
genetically engineer elves, or were they...
Were they making Christmas
Super
elves on
soldiers.
purpose? Or, I mean,
We know what will destroy the Western civilization.
Yeah.
Christmas.
I'm not gonna lie, after a while, we just had a lot of fuck around time on our hands. So, we
Well,
greenlit
we all
a lot
did
of
a lot
stuff.
of drugs.
Okay, what else? None of us have seen the movies. Like, we've seen like 2 of the movies out of the list.
I think I've watched 3. Thank you.
Slowing us down.
I don't know, Miracle on 34th Street's pretty scary.
Well, there are a lot of...
Dude's
this
actually...
list yesterday. On Slash Film yesterday, they did what are the best Christmas horror movies. I just searched for Christmas horror movies as the first
Well,
story.
name some off, see if we've seen them.
Apparently, well, there's only 5. Santa's Sleigh is number 5.
That's the one with Goldberg in it. I've seen that.
Treevenge. is number 4.
I've seen the cover of that, but I haven't watched
The puns are strong with these
That's
ones.
on one of my queues someplace, I'm sure of it. Treevenge.
Silent Night, Deadly Night is number 3. Okay. Black Christmas, number 2. And the number 1 Christmas movie, according to them, is Gremlins.
I guess you
That's a
could.
Christmas
Yeah,
movie?
it happens at Christmas.
It happens at Christmas, like
Yeah,
Die Hard.
Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie. The Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
Every Shane Black movie is a Christmas movie.
It is true.
Iron Man 3
that
is a
man
Christmas
cannot
movie.
stand Christmas.
I've seen Gremlins.
So there's that.
I haven't seen Gremlins.
That's a solid movie.
Yeah, we really don't
I
have
haven't seen that in 25 years.
They're
Really.
working on a new Gremlins.
Are they?
Like Chris Columbus or somebody's working on a Gremlins. Just think of anything,
It's getting the
and
Nazis
they're working on a
genetically
follow-up.
engineer them.
Yeah, that's what you need. Make a remake of Elves. Quit screwing around
Where
with
did,
Gremlins.
where did the gremlins come from, really?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we want to know.
It's a genetically engineered Nazi mogwai.
That's what sequels and prequels are for, isn't it? Taking the magic out of
Oh,
things by
yeah.
over-explaining them.
To ruin the mystery.
They have other ones. Apparently, that was just one of the guy's personal list. Okay, the next one is number 5, Shaitan.
What?
What the hell? French film is similar to the van. Okay.
No, pass.
Better Watch Out, 2016.
I think, is that anywhere we can watch it?
It's
I've
just a
seen
list of a lot of
previews for
movies we haven't
that.
watched.
That's a fun one. That's like crazy people take over
Yeah.
like, the house during Christmas or something.
The next one's Black Christmas. The next one's Gremlins, and the last one is The Children, 2008.
I think
Children
that's
are
streaming
scary.
out there, but I haven't
Is that
seen
the one
it.
with the island of children?
Two families together to celebrate the holiday, but a cold that starts with one of their kids soon turns all of the tykes into murderous little shits.
I think it's on
So
HBO
how
for
is it
real.
like any other Christmas?
I kind of feel like maybe we should have had this session prior to making this episode. It's like, oh, you're right. We should have watched that. That would have been perfect for this episode.
Brainstorm.
I had a whole longer list that I was supposed to watch that I haven't gotten around to yet.
I was going to at least watch the Black Christmas remake again because it was terrible.
The Black Christmas remake was really bad because it turned it from this novel thing to this just generic horror slasher bad thing.
Awful. Yeah.
That's what all horror remakes usually do.
Because they don't seem to recognize
Yeah,
what
I mean,
made it work.
Normal remake.
Right.
Margot Kidder swearing her head off. That was what made it work.
Yeah.
That potty mouth. It's the only reason we watched it.
Saying things like fellatio to people.
That's not a swear word.
It isn't my house.
So what would you guys say is the best of these Christmas movies, horror Christmas movies that you've seen?
I would have said Krampus, but we part ways on that, I guess. I really enjoyed that movie. I kind of feel like we may need to do a
I would have said
follow-up.
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Silent Night, Deadly Night
Lynn's
is
a
the
pedophile
gold
Krampus.
standard of actual Christmas horror films. So, and you can't go wrong with it.
I mean, what is it? People getting killed by Santa. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
pretty
classic
hardcore.
It's the ultimate betrayal.
Yeah, really. Like, yeah, we put cookies out for you, man.
Yeah, you think your parents lying to you was the ultimate betrayal? No.
I mean, just,
Okay, I found another.
Yeah,
is
I
not
found a
Santa
list
the
of
ultimate
20.
betrayal?
It's like The
In
Village.
that case.
It's like, actually, the real betrayal is that there was a Santa and he went crazy.
I found a list of 25. So here we go. Ready? So 25 Elves. There you go.
Nice.
1989. 24 Holidays. 2015. Looks like it has Seth Green in it.
Holidays. That's on Netflix too, but it didn't look good.
that's
it's
not
an
that one where
anthology.
they. That's not the one where they swap houses with Kate Winslet in it.
No.
The Holiday. Is it?
Yeah, that's the
That's
holiday.
a pretty horrifying movie.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible.
You swap houses with someone, you get to bang their brother. That's the rule, isn't it?
No, wait a second. You're getting your
Holiday.
wires crossed because that was Love Actually. The Holidays where she ends up with Jack Black, I think.
Oh yeah, The Holiday.
They
where,
both
yeah,
end up with a partner of someone who has something to do with them, and one of them, I think the British one, ends up with someone's brother,
Oh, I don't know. That's
like
what you.
John Cusack or someone
Hey,
like that.
I don't know how you guys house swap, but that's how we
sounds-
do it here.
Kate Winslet and
Yeah. Jack Black, Kate Winslet, and some other people.
And people.
I don't know who Cameron Diaz falls. Yeah, I don't know. There's wins and stuff in that movie. Santana. Yeah, whatever. 23 is Better Watch Out. We already mentioned that. 22 is Calvaire. It's a Belgian horror movie. 21 is Dead of Night, 1945.
haven't seen that. 1945.
Looks.
That sounds interesting.
20 is Silent Night, Zombie Night, 2009. Number 19 is Don't Open Till Christmas, 1984.
That sounds familiar. I gotta put a pin in a couple of these. A couple of these sound interesting.
So the cover of the VHS features a kitchen knife jammed into a Christmas present, puddles of blood oozing onto the carpet.
May or may not have anything to do with the movie from an 80s video box
These
perspective.
are all just like a exercise in obscurity. Number 18 is To All a Good Night, 1980. That's a good name for a horror movie.
To All a Good Night. I like To
Well,
All a
that seems
Good
to be
Knife.
the biggest thing that all these have going for them is their cool names.
Right. Number 17 is A Wind Chill, 2007. Looks like it has Emily Blunt in it.
Never heard
Wind
of that
Chill.
either.
It's a thriller. I don't know if that counts as a horror movie. Number 16, A Christmas Horror Story with that crazy
That I will watch every year for the rest of my life, I think.
horn guy, evil Krampus
Yeah, the
taking on Santa.
Krampus,
or
the effects
something.
are awesome in that movie, too. The Krampus looks pretty cool.
Krampus vs. Santa is a movie I would watch.
That's what you would need to watch, then. If we've accomplished nothing else in this episode, that recommendation to you, I think, would make it all worthwhile for everybody to say, good Lord, guys, we haven't done one in a while. We're not that good.
Right. Number 15 is Silent Night, Bloody Night.
Yes, that's one of the...
1972.
There's no end of iterations of that phrase.
Yeah. Number 14, another great pun, Santa's Sleigh, 2005.
That's the
That
Goldberg
was on one of the
one.
other lists.
Yeah, and it's not that good. It's watchable, I guess.
Number 13 is Chris Kattan is in it though. So
In Santa's Sleigh?
Rebecca Gayheart, and James Caan, James Caan, Fran Drescher, Chris Kattan, and Rebecca Gayheart.
This is not the same movie I am thinking of.
They all meet their end in the first 10 minutes, so they're gone. They're stunt
The
casting.
Santa
Famous people are all
stars.
The one I'm thinking
Time
of
order.
had Goldberg as an evil Santa.
Yeah, it looks like that's him as an evil Santa.
Okay.
You're right, but
I guess I don't remember the first
it's a
5 minutes.
horror comedy. Yeah. Number 13 is P2, that weird movie, but I guess it takes place at Christmas.
P2.
The one in the parking lot?
Isn't
The
that
parking deck
yeah,
movie with
yeah, 2007.
Rachel
I remember
Nichols?
you liking that, Sean, because the girl was
Rachel,
wearing a pretty dress.
Rachel,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
Rachel
really liked
Nichols.
it because of her. I
Yeah.
watched. She's no good because I've watched a ton of terrible movies, mostly because of her. She was in that. She was in G.I. Joe. She was in that Conan movie. She keeps popping up.
I still can't remember her face. I've watched a couple of those movies
Yeah.
and have no idea who she is.
Never seen it.
That's not the.
Never once have seen it.
Sounds like I've never seen her face.
I really couldn't pick her out of a lineup from the neck up.
Number 12 is Sint, S-I-N-T, 2010. It's a Dutch. It looked pretty creepy. It harks back to the origins of Saint Nick and reimagines him as a scarier version of Sinterklaas.
Santa
That might be
Claus.
good because that clown movie that
looks
was about
creepy.
the origin of clowns was pretty creepy. The Eli Roth one. I think he just produced it.
Yeah, armed with a razor blade staff, Sint is a murder bishop who visits children whenever there's a full moon on December 5th.
Interesting.
So interesting. Number 11, Silent Night, 2012. I don't know if we said
I don't think I've
that.
seen
Number
that.
10 is The Children again.
Well, I should. If I could have watched that, it's still on HBO, I think.
Number 9 is Dead End, 2003.
That sounds familiar. Who's in that?
It doesn't say. And the picture doesn't look familiar. So,
Dead End. A
Must
movie
not have been
about
that
movie.
good.
number 8 is Tales from the Crypt, 1972. I guess there's a Christmas story in it.
Well, yeah, but that's not a movie. That's like the pilot
Well,
of the TV show.
They're stretching here.
That's
There's
where the
25
evil
of these
Santa
things.
is on the loose. That's another guy, crazy guy dressed in a Santa suit.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, he has like a weird.
I mean, if you're going to go
mask
into TV show episodes, there's that Round the Twist one where he met Santa Claus.
Or the Christmas Horror Story had Ian McShane as an evil rapist Santa. Because you can always
Rapey
count on
Santa.
him.
Why is that a genre?
I don't think I would look to American Horror Story for genre building. They're basically just chew up pop culture and vomit it out into a show.
The Tales from the Crypt one has Joan Collins in it. That's who the character is.
1972.
She's just buried a fireplace poker into her husband, head and is quickly trying to rid the corpse. At the same time, a radio announcement about an escaped lunatic dressed as Santa seemingly offers her the perfect escape. But he starts trying to break into the house, and she can't call the cops because her husband's there dead.
It's so weird, because that
Chuck
is...
him out a window and blame it on the other dude.
That's the
Yeah, just
story
like, this guy
from the
killed
Tales
him.
from the Crypt episode, but, I mean, obviously that's way earlier.
I mean, that sounds like complain much. I was like, the psychopath's attacking her. Hey, this guy killed him. You just got delivered alibi. Jack Frost, 1977, is number 7. It's a darker alternative to the reincarnated Michael Keaton's Schmaltz Fest.
I like the one.
I never seen
keep
it.
meaning to
The
watch that
Jack
because
Frost
the cover
direct a
looks so
video
good.
where he's a snowman.
Yeah.
That's why I said,
He's holding.
get your kids
It
to watch
looks
that
really
Michael
bad.
Keaton one, and then just play Jack Frost 2 from the other one right behind it, as though it's a sequel.
Yeah. Rare Exports, number 6. Christmas Tale 2010. I saw that one. That used to be on Netflix.
Yeah, isn't that like...
Finnish movie.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's not a... I don't think I've seen it, though.
Number 5 is 1980's Christmas Evil.
Christmas Evil.
That is a
That
great
is a
name.
good title.
But no, haven't seen it. Next.
That's all we have on all these movies. That's a good name. Next.
Yeah. Number 4, Krampus, 2015. Number 3, Silent Night, Deadly Night, 1984. Number 2, Gremlins. And number 1, Black Christmas. There you go.
That's fair. I don't know that Gremlins... Because it is true that Gremlins is a good movie, but it doesn't work as a Christmas movie or a horror movie.
That's one thing I would say about the Krampus movie is that it actually is about Christmas. That's thematically is all those things that you hate about Christmas, like the family coming together and having to deal with
It kind of
your
speaks
racist
to
uncle.
me. I don't ever like a family like that family, but still that opening sequence of them just having a brawl in the department store, I could at least metaphorically relate to.
Yeah, it says it says people are getting together. Unfortunately, their arguments are pissy moods somehow mingle with a storm that manages to conjure up one of the holiday's most legendary beasts.
Goes from Krampus.
And he's brought an army of demonic gingerbread friends.
He has what I like
if
about
he
it.
kills
He
the
has a
whole
lot
town
of
because
gimmicky. There's like a killer Jack in the Box that's pretty terrifying looking. There's a killer
That
baby
does
doll
nothing though.
creature. He eats one of the
Pops
kids.
up and goes, "Oh, I'm scary."
He ate a kid.
Good.
What do you want from him?
Kids are easy to
pretty
kill.
good.
Yep. Take out one of the parents.
It's not much. I'd kill a kid before 2:00.
Yeah. Well, I work in retail. That's my job.
I'm not scared of kids. Yeah. I think that we're missing the point between what is challenging and what is frightening. Like, it's like being a kid killer is arguably not very challenging, but it's terrifying.
Yeah. What
There
are
was
they
too many of
doing
those
with
kids
their
though. That's why I called them red shirts. I didn't know if the kids had been killed because there was another one left. And I was like, oh, is that
that
kid
the
dead
other
or was
one?
that the other kid? How many kids are there?
They had
There's
to
too
have
many of
enough
them.
to get periodically eaten.
Yeah, but I couldn't figure out how many there were. They didn't even seem to have names or personalities apart from little shits.
I don't know. I may have been. I watched it in the theater, so I may have been paying more attention to the nuances.
I would argue with there being nuances in that movie.
I think that they should all
one did you
wear
see in
sweaters
theaters?
with numbers on them, like when Deadpool kills a guy and the bullet is numbered. So I know how close we're getting to the end.
This is Krampus we're talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah, okay. It came out in the theaters?
Yeah. That's what I mean. This was
that
like
movie was in it there.
this was a major
Oh,
release.
proper, like?
At the cinema?
They got a cinema down there, don't they? That's what it's for.
Like Casablanca?
Channeling some Leroy there.
Yeah.
Y'all got the postal service.
That's what it's for. Expect you to get your ass whooped.
Oh my
Play out
God.
the Christmas episode with Leroy.
I guess that's why Christmas movies, like the horror thing, is such an interesting idea because I guess it's just like the obvious. Are any of these like actually good, or are they good for camp? Or are they actually like, oh, this is
Black
like
Christmas is
the
legitimately
first
good.
Halloween for Christmas? Okay.
Black
Yeah,
Christmas,
Black
that's
Christmas
So
is like
I should
an
watch
original
that one.
slasher movie.
we
You
were
can just
impressed
tell me
with
the
that.
two that I
it was a
should-
trailblazer in the genre for real.
Well, it says that the Black Christmas is the one that started the calls coming from inside the house.
Yeah, but it started the whole slash because
Yeah.
1974 is when it came out. The same year that it came out, Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out. Those two movies. Before those two movies, they didn't have. I mean, the closest thing was Psycho. But before those two movies, you didn't have, and they're the spectrum because Black Christmas is like Halloween, where it's subtle. You know, they do a lot of cutaways.
And when you watch it now, you can see where it began all of these tropes and where it started all of these all of the other movies came from it.
These proto horror films is what these two are. And then with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it was the opposite of that because it was just a gore fest. It was like the first super gory of those. But it was at a time where building these franchises just wasn't a thing. So, but those two mostly disappeared, especially Black Christmas did. They didn't bring back Texas Chainsaw Massacre even until all these other horror franchises had cropped up. It was several years later. But yeah, that one's one to watch, especially if you really do like the horror genre. That it almost might seem a little played to you because you've seen a lot of those concepts before.
Yeah, I did when I first watched it. I thought, well, this is just another generic movie that happens to be set at Christmas, and then you find out that it's the first one, and it works a lot better. I think if you're actually calling it a Christmas movie is almost bearing the lead.
Yeah, well, they named it that. I didn't. So
well, no,
it's not like Lethal
putting it on
Weapon. They did
like,
set
when
it
it's
there.
discussed, it shouldn't just be discussed as a Christmas movie. You should be like, this is a Christmas movie. It also is.
Because it's not really Christmas themed at all. I mean, it's like you said, that just happens to be a convenient time for a killer to be in the house because there aren't any people around. But even being familiar with all the tropes, it has some good creepy kind of stuff going on in it. Like it has some stuff going on in it that you don't see in other movies through all the saturation of some of the same ideas. But yeah, I would definitely say that one is a legitimately good one. Most of them are, gimmick movies because they're poking fun at Christmas.
Well, also, I will say that one actually has genuine characters in it that you can
they
follow them, and
there
are little differences. And
like, I can't marry you, and I won't have you baby. Like they have like the big backstories going on.
Yeah, they're all people, so it actually matters more.
Some of them scary. Like the boyfriend is like so scary because you're like, oh, okay, we're supposed to think he's the bad guy because he is just like smashing his grand piano because he didn't do well at his recital. It's like fairly disconnected from the problems of normal folk. You betrayed me, piano. But it's good. That one's a really good one. I would recommend Krampus as being a lot of fun. So I'd be curious to hear what other people have to think since have to say about it since we're divided here at the TVAMD dinner camp. But I'd be curious to hear from you, Lynn, about A Christmas Horror Story because I liked Krampus better, but I think over time A Christmas Horror Story is more enjoyable for me to watch. And in a weird way, it's more enjoyable for me to watch every Christmas. That's just a fun movie right there. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, I do like the fun ones.
So it's good. I gotta find them because they're not all easy to find. But I gotta dig up some more of the Silent Night, Deadly Night. That's a fun one to find a new one of those every year.
We'll revisit this franchise next year.
Yeah, right. Save this list. We'll do better next year. We know now. We know exactly what to do.
We've got all year. Surely we can get around to watching some of them.
We just basically had an idea for this. We didn't really.
Well, to be fair, most of the time when we have episodes, we say that we're going to do a topic. We talk about it for about 10 minutes, and then we talk about other stuff for the rest of it. So.
Yeah, I think
we haven't done a whole episode on one topic for a long time.
Yeah, that's showing. Usually, just we organically have conversations. I think we are just rusty. I want to talk about Star Wars, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of Star Wars talk.
Haven't seen anything else. Haven't seen The Shape of Water yet.
I've heard good things.
I heard amazing things about that movie.
I'm gonna watch. What is it? The Disaster Artist as well. I'm looking forward to. That's in cinemas.
I'll probably wait till it's
Yeah, I wanna see that.
on video. I don't think I'll go to the theater to see that, but I'm interested in it.
I read the book that it was based on, and that was pretty good.
That's cool, and it looks fun.
Yeah.
So I am curious to see what all they do with it. Okay.
Are we done already? We're like, we're done with Christmas movies. We don't want to...
It's been a weird time. We don't. There's a reason we don't normally do episodes around Christmas time too. But I'm glad we got.
I've been watching a lot of
can't
movies.
stop.
I play more games these days.
Really? What games you playing?
Well, Finding Paradise just came out this week, and To the Moon was one of my favorite games of all time. So I spent my 4 hours playing that one.
Are you playing on PC?
Yep. But we've got the Xbox and the PlayStation as well.
Look at you.
Well-
Gamer Lynn.
I say we. I mean, Red has all these things. I've got the Wii U and the girly gaming ones.
That's all right.
But I usually prefer PC.
What is it? Megan
Speaking of
plays
Krampus,
the Old
I watched-
Republic, I think. The Star Wars. I think she plays
Yeah,
that.
I started playing that on my phone this week.
I love that all
'Cause it
those
was
games
like-
you can play on your phone these days. They're actual legit games.
Yeah.
And I've been watching Red kill Krampus over and over. He's been doing Killing Floor 2. That's a lot of fun.
Good. I'm a little embarrassed. I'm very tired. I'm still adjusting to the new job.
Got a lot to process lately. It's just
All the ins and outs and what have you.
a lot's going on.
Oh man, well that's true. I mean, we do have some Star Wars stuff. It is weird that my brain has have a hard time thinking of anything that isn't Star Wars. I'm almost ready to put the print book out, so that'll be done soon, and then I'll be done with that book. I just have to annotate it now that the movie's out. I have to annotate it and say, I'm well aware that this is probably not true anymore, as a theory.
Well, that's why I'm curious about things like the games and whether or not they're canon, because...
They are. No.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are, like the new ones are. But, I mean, you look at Expanded
Yeah.
Universe and you do a whole heap of different... It's not necessarily Disney canon.
Well, that's
for the
what's so
most
fun
part,
about all that games and the books now, because they are canon and they're not even like halfway canon like it used to be. So now it's like once you dig in, that's why I wish we had. We're not gonna get the novelization of this new movie till March.
I know, right? I got the visual dictionary, so it gives me a little bit to chew on.
And there's a lot of cool stuff in the art of it too. That book.
Oh, I gotta
There's,
get
like,
that then.
Deleted scene stuff.
Oh, I gotta get.
But yeah, it's like I don't know, man.
Well, because we've just got Battlefront, and that deals with Battlefront 2. Which one are we playing?
There's some Luke Skywalker
Battlefront
stuff in
2.
there, right?
And
Well,
that's,
the
that's got
compass he
stuff
gets in
that's
that
like-
game is in the movie. You see it in the movie.
It's in the visual dictionary, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean they don't say anything, of course, because this movie's not about diving
That's the
deep
stuff.
into
Yeah, well, that's
lore,
what makes the
but it's-
expanded lore fun. You can go into the
Yeah.
weeds, but the movies aren't going to cover this stuff. They got too much other business to cover.
I love that George Lucas is like, well, the movies are the only thing that's real. I don't watch any of that stuff.
I know.
Right.
And the filmmakers
beautiful
kind of
picture.
are more or less like that. They're like, I'm not reading every book there is. This is the story we're telling. There's a story group. They'll tell me if I'm wandering off. You think I don't walk in with like 1,000 bullet points of things I have to do in the movie?
Yeah, that's the one thing about our review, our prediction episode, because you read it and you listen to it, and you're like, of course, none of this stuff's in there because Ryan Johnson didn't read any of this bullshit. He's just made a story, and those guys are like, yeah, it sort of fits. We'll make it work.
Well, that's what makes
then-
the theories
Yeah.
fun, as long as you don't go into the movie hoping the movie validates those theories, because
Right.
you're going to get more
It's like,
validation in the expanded works than you are in the films.
It's like True
Right.
Detective, where, because you were watching it week by week, everyone had all these theories about how it was going to go, and they thought it was going to be really complicated, but it just told a good story.
Yeah, people
That-
thought it was going to be like
Lynn, right there. Let's time capsule this. You haven't seen Last Jedi yet. That explains it exactly. If you go into it and you want a good story and you enjoy being surprised, And you don't go, but I want this. I want, like, that's what the people of the True Detective. And I felt like that in True Detective. Again, I felt like that in Last Jedi. You go, and True Detective, like, I want to see some weird supernatural stuff. And then it gets to the end, and it's like, oh, they actually ended it beautifully, and it wasn't supernatural at all.
Nowhere in the story did it say it was going to go that way. It was just creepy and weird.
I felt satisfied. That's literally a perfect analogy for this Star Wars movie. Exactly. It's a beautiful story, but if you expect... Take it for what it is. If you expect... but the thing about it is, it actually delivers on craziness too. So that's, I just don't get it. We'll talk about it. I'm sure we'll have 8 episodes talking about it.
Because like I said, I'm open to any criticism about story, because there's always something you can poke at. But to walk out completely unhappy, I'm just wondering what the expectation was.
I'm like that, true. And I also, on this podcast and all these sister podcasts, we have a code, right? And what is our code? It's called reconstructive criticism. So if you're going to say, I don't like this moment, I wish they would have done that. And I was like, all right, well, and I've done this with people that have said that to me. Let's play that out. What does that mean if that is the case? And they're like, oh, no. I was like, well, then that's not a valid criticism. You need to volley up some type of just as thematically appropriate
the Hobbit
solution.
Movies yet?
I don't think we did. That's easy.
We should
do the
that
book.
because
Honestly, though, I've been meaning to do that just by cutting the movie. Like, you don't really
have.
have.
One of my biggest disappointments is those movies, and all the things they missed and all the things they added in that they didn't need to. They would be something that I would really enjoy doing a reconstructive criticism of.
We could do one of Justice League. That'd be probably fun. We could do one of all these ones.
We talked about Dark Tower would be a fun one to do.
Yeah,
would still
Dark Tower would be a great one.
Because that's a fun, creative one to say. That's not easy to do. Like, how would you approach it?
Well, I think if we do reconstructive, like that's a different kind of series or different kind of types of shows we do. I also think it's fun if we say these are the ground rules, right? Like, not just say whatever you would do. It's like, no, we have to say
let's call it regurgitating dinner.
Yeah, you have to say, well, we have to do this, this, and this. So how would you make it work with that? You know what I mean? I think that's even more fun too.
Well, especially the rule that we would follow was don't take what they did and then reconstruct it from there. We're talking about, like...
Let's start from the beginning.
How would you have done it? It's easy to look at something someone else made and pick at little points. You could do that with any movie. But if you were starting from scratch, where would be the starting point? Like, what's the opening scene of your movie?
Right.
That's a more interesting sort of challenge, because everybody's just like, oh, they should this, that, or that right there they shouldn't have done. It's like, well, anyone can do that. You might even be right, but that's not that that's not that hard to do once it's already out there. But conceptualizing in the vacuum
Everybody's
is difficult.
A critic.
Yeah, because it's easy. It's not that it's bad to be a critic, but it is easier than it is to make things. I think too many people get critical and then they take it personally. Which is, I don't know.
Well, Star Wars is one of those things that sort of shaped so many of us, so I can see why people are taking it personally, but...
Oh, and this is what we'll get into, and I'm interested to see what other people think, but, like, I was talking to somebody who I was disagreeing with about, but it's like, this has 40 years, endless comics, books, like, video games, not only that, like, if you didn't even have that, you'd have expectations, but you also have that. There's a moment in Last Jedi, and I won't spoil it for you, Lynn, but, like, because I read those Thrawn books, I had no problem with it. Like, because they have a precedent, and even those aren't canon, right? There's like, oh, yeah, that could work. I've heard that
they still exist in the backstory. They're part of the legend.
But I understand somebody not getting that, and it's just, like, again, it's just it's like that mixed with, then you add people, like, with all the... then you add force powers to that, which are this malleable thing, and then it's just funny to me, people like... Well, I don't think that could work. It's like, this is splitting hairs now, man. It's like, what are you talking about? This is like magic. We're like arguing about how magic works.
Or sometimes people argue about the science in Star Wars. Like, I don't think this would work this way. It's like, it's all completely made up.
I think that's one of the other things, is mistaking Star Wars for a serious sci-fi.
It's fantasy. It's fantasy. And this one, and I think that's the and that might be, and the reason I love it, and probably, I don't know, you, Sean, might love it, is this might be the most fantasy one of all of them. in a weird way. It's the most mythic and fantasy of them all, I think, in a weird way.
I was very satisfied with the way the philosophy was portrayed.
Right, I like that, and I think it's a very mythic storytelling, and I think most people go into this wanting a soap opera.
It's Luke Skywalker, man.
With all those things in mind, I will watch it tonight. Please stop now.
We're prepping you. We're prepping. Just
right,
go on to
so I'll just take it
clear
forward.
eyes.
But I think
Clear
that's
eyes,
why
full
I
hearts,
enjoyed episode 7 so much, because it really just felt like another fun story.
We didn't.
A lot of people had.
We didn't feel like we had the right to an expectation in that movie. We're like, if it's good at all, I'll be happy, because it could be horrible.
Well, I just felt like it felt like Star Wars to me, and that's what I was asking for. It felt good. It felt like it hit the right spot in my heart, and I was happy.
Well, this one's a little different. It is challenging in a way. Like, it is challenging to some people what Star Wars is and what it means for the future. That's the definition of this.
I didn't find.
I found it very. This is such a weird for Lynn to hear this. I found it very refreshing, but yeah. But it is. I see how most people.
Curious to talk to you after you see it, Lynn, because this will be a fun one to define what people think Star Wars is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the process different for everyone.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I was thinking about the day.
That's what we're finding out.
Well, that's what it is. It's always like when elections and, Australia and the United States come along, you're like, oh, people really think this way? That's depressing.
Well, I had this discussion with my brother-in-law about the prequels. My brother-in-law, Red's brother, about the prequels. He loves the prequels, whereas I'm not so keen on them. And he was saying how it was like they reached into my childhood and grabbed everything that was important about Star Wars and put it into a movie. And I'm like, which bit are you talking about? And he said, well, the lightsaber battles.
Oh, he said that about the prequels.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I was like, well, I can see if what you liked was the lightsaber battles and that sort of thing, where
he might not like this new movie then.
You would like the prequels. He didn't think much of episode 7 either.
Yeah, I would think if you love... That's the thing. I think if you love character in Star Wars, and that's what's important to you, you like episode 7, and this is super fun and refreshing. If you like character. I mean, I'm not... That's a weird caveat. You might... Everybody, who knows? I mean, I like it, but I'm just saying that's why I like it. It is, but I think it's a weird political discussion. Then we'll get into this tomorrow and other times, the next months. But it's one of those weird... You find yourself in those situations where they're saying, I hated it because of this. And like, that's why I loved it. And you're like, I don't even know how to talk to you now. Because that's literally the reason I loved it.
I don't know you anymore.
And you're saying that's why you hated it. So, okay, I don't know how to... We just can't talk about this now.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't be friends anymore.
All right. Okay, so we'll be covering that.
So it's an extra 15 minutes.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
By talking about what you weren't supposed to talk about.
We're prepping you for it tonight.
Yeah, we got to wring something out of this. I feel like we cheated people. Even though the show is free, I feel like we told you there was going to be an episode, and then we...
For some people...
We talked more about the Black Christmas movies than we have about most of the topics we're supposed to talk about during an episode.
Yeah. Maybe I'll cut this to a mini-sode about that one thing.
It took us like 45 minutes until we started on Star Wars, which is probably a record.
Wow. Well, some people... Last Jedi is a Christmas horror movie. Ooh.
Ooh. Shots fired.
Right. So yeah, you can go to cloudcitysocial.club to listen to episodes of Cloud City After Dark, which is a Star Wars podcast. Go to expandinguniverse.club, where we can see our Star Wars-based blog. You can also find some links on both of those to the various books that I have out now. The Myth Awakens is the whole book. I have it's serialized in Kindle now. So you can actually get parts 1, 2, 3, and those parts were put out before The Last Jedi, so it contains no spoilers. It's just theories. The full Kindle version and the print edition will have annotations that actually compare my theories to what happened in The Last Jedi. So it'll have some mild spoilers, but by then...
How wrong was I?
On the planet. Chances are someone's going to see Star Wars before they read something I wrote. So I'm not that worried. I even stand by our episode. We were totally wrong for the most part, and then in our kind of ancillary predictions, that we were hilarious right. Is if we were just talking about normal stuff, we were pretty spot on, and then we started talking about zany stuff that we were clearly and obviously always going to be like. Wrong. This is still just that's all territory for the books and for the TV shows. Yeah, I'm not giving up on that. I'm just digging deeper. But that's what's fun. Don't feel discouraged if your fan
No, I don't feel
theories
discouraged.
work out.
I love it. I saw it 3 times this weekend, Sean.
We've seen it twice.
I'm in it.
We've seen it twice already, but we have to see the
It
Shape
gets
of
better
Water
every
at some
time.
point.
Yeah, I have to see that.
But I'll
And
probably
more
at least see it
importantly,
one
we're
more
all
time.
making lists of Christmas music to put up on YouTube.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe we should have done that episode. Yeah, we'll have to check some of
What's
those
your favorite
out.
Christmas song?
What's my favorite Christmas song?
Go ahead.
Let's see. Was the Nat King Cole's got that good one?
That's a classic Christmas song. It's literally called the Christmas song, Sean. That's the most boring
And
answer
your
you could
favorite
give.
movie was The Christmas Horror Story. So, not a lot of imagination going on here.
They got you
What's
on the
your favorite?
branding.
Your other favorite movie is The Christmas Story.
Yeah,
A
my
Christmas
actual
Story.
favorite Christmas movie, The Christmas Story. My
Do
favorite
they play
regular movie
Christmas
is just
Story
called
for 24
The Story.
hours in Australia, Lynn?
Pardon?
A Christmas Story that, the Ralphie, they play that movie. In America, they play that movie 12 times.
They
on
did a
Christmas
live
Eve.
musical
just play
version
cricket
of
here.
it.
That's all we
Ah,
have,
okay.
cricket.
Okay.
We call it Crisket.
Crisket.
That and KFC ads, just solid.
Just that one day. All right. You can listen to other episodes of TV at my dinner at TVAMD.com. We are also on Facebook. Expanding Universe is on Facebook.
And we're on YouTube now.
We are on YouTube now. That's right. Brooks has set up. Well, we've been on YouTube. We've had some of our side video projects, but
Yeah,
Brooks
he's
has
getting that
actually
going.
been putting up some of the original podcasts on YouTube.
Brooks
and
was super
keep doing that.
excited. It's adorable.
It's
Like,
a
I'm
neat
putting
idea.
everything on YouTube.
Yeah,
He's
we'll
going to be in here tomorrow
monetize
night.
it.
Yeah, so yeah.
Technically, we are eligible for monetizing, though. We have had enough requisite views to have ads on the site, so go watch it there, I guess, if you want. I don't know. People don't typically look at our YouTube videos more than our actual podcast, which is why we don't do as many vidcasts. But on the whole, people go to YouTube and watch videos more as a medium than they do looking for audio podcasts. So.
You know what does well is when people play games and you just watch people play games. We should do that.
Well, I did that second
Game
live,
night.
but
Actually,
people
no,
who
I
play
made
games
that.
just
I
got
have
mad at me.
No, I actually made that for us. We have a TV at my dinner Twitch channel. I actually made that a long time
You can
ago.
just live play games.
There you go.
Oh, you should
Well,
do
we-
that. Yeah, that
Whatever it is
can
you do on
be
Twitch.
someone else's portion because I don't play games. But
We can play like Jackbox. That's like the group games. We could all do that together one day.
okay,
Play Uno.
Yeah.
people would watch us. I don't know how anything works. People
It
would
is
just watch
crazy.
us. When they were first telling me about podcasts, I was like, well, I could DJ music like I used to do, get some original songs. Like, just talk. You do the talky parts. Like, who wants to sit here and listen to me talk?
It is weird listening to those.
10 years later.
The first 5 episodes you put up there.
Oh,
How
the dark,
low-key.
crazy ones?
Like just how, no, the TV at dinner, but just how low key you guys are.
Oh, yeah, and we're trying to be
very
like, now's the time of
calm.
the show where we talk about movies. It was like all structured and stuff.
It took Lynn and I coming on to add some kind of weird frantic energy to the show. Because it's just Greg, you, and Sean just like, that's really nice. You're talking about Transformers 1, is like, it was a pretty good movie. Or whatever you say. It's like,
Well, it takes a
it's
while.
hilarious.
It takes a
Yeah,
while to get
I'm
comfortable.
not criticizing.
too.
Yeah, I get it.
I like
get it.
those first 20 or so episodes are some of
They're
my
very
favorites
calming.
still. They're really good. I like the low-key thing.
There's a lot of good content.
Well, it's going out there, so we hope you all enjoy it. I'm going to try to put out new episodes on YouTube as we produce them, and that way we'll just be working out the backlog.
And it's pretty classic because Greg disappears in the first, 2 episodes.
Yeah, you get a pretty good
Yeah.
feel for what the show's going to be pretty early on.
Yeah, that's when there's a lot of amount of prep work into these shows.
'Cause I think it literally is like, this is episode 2 of TV at my dinner. Greg can't be with us tonight.
Yeah.
It was like
We've already
the
lost
second
Greg.
week. So there you go. So we got all that. We got the doinking on the dweebler going on and all that kind of stuff happening. And we will have a lot of Star Wars stuff coming your way pretty soon. But I'm glad we got to do something for Christmas before the end of the year. Just to say we did.
That Christmas episode, it'll probably be out next July.
Yeah. Since
Christmas
this
in
episode is
July.
probably preempting our 10th anniversary episode, I might as well say it's been 10 years of TV Ate My Dinner. Because this episode will probably come
Yeah,
out.
we were supposed to do a
before
10-year
that one.
anniversary episode as well.
We've recorded one. It's just I've had computer issues as well in this interim period. It's been a shaky time. But that'll be coming out soon. But it has
Turmoil
been
in the galaxy.
over 10 years of TV Ate My Dinner now. So we
You
certainly
guys are some of my oldest friends at this point.
It's true. It's
crazy.
crazy, isn't it?
Well, you go through things like your divorce and moving town and that sort of thing, and people fall on and off, but people on the internet, you guys are still there.
I'm telling you, I don't know how I would ever stop doing this show. You know what I mean?
We just keep recording it. Nobody's ever listening anyway.
It is true. It's not much
Stop
extra
talking.
work to put it out there. As a time capsule, it'd be like the Wayback Machine.
Wait, look, one day when one of us gets famous, this will just take off.
And like, oh yeah, there's like 1,000 hours of them. Yeah. That's
So
what
which
we're
one of
waiting.
us? Yeah, for a while it was just me and Lynn, and then you.
Every
So
time a
which
new
one of
person
us-
comes, we hope they're the one who'll pop.
So which one of us replaced Greg, and which one of us replaced Brooks?
Let's see. I'd have to look back and see. Because Lynn had
None of
started
us are
doing
really
the
grumpy
episodes
enough.
while Brooks and Greg
None of
were
us are
still here.
grumpy enough, though. I think.
Yeah, like, Greg has his own special sort of grumpiness that he can't really...
I think Andrew really replaced Brooks because by that point we were doing guest spots for people because we didn't have a
Right.
third. And then Lynn really came in before either one of them.
Yeah.
Well, Greg didn't leave. He's still here.
He comes
He's-
on anytime
he's
he wants
still
to
on the
complain
show.
about something.
I'm like, oh, Lynn was here while still both of them were still on the show.
Yeah, I didn't replace anyone.
Only,
That's just the voice of reason.
Yeah.
but for a while we had some shaky days where like every week it would be a different lineup of people, of whoever we could just get to do the show
Well,
with us.
it's pretty much always Sean, though.
Yeah, there's only ever been the one thing that they did without me, and that was just because they went to Dragon Con and recorded something.
What's weird, even thinking about because once I finished school, I've been doing this with you consistently.
Oh,
there
yeah.
hasn't been one you've done without me. I've done everyone for 4
years,
years.
yeah. And we've had the
4
side
years.
shows.
That's weird to think about that. And with Game of Thrones and Lynn, we started that whole Game of Thrones thing for a while until you just got tired of spoiling us, and then
Yeah, like, it was just, I couldn't do it.
it's like
Now
I
we
can't
still
just-
record it, but we haven't put out an episode in like a year.
Well, we got to 2019 until they do the next season, so we're good. We're fine.
We'll see. I think I still haven't put out episode 10 of the prior seasons. Like, come on, man.
Sean and I have artwork for podcasts we haven't even done yet. For Westworld and all these other ones. So
Oh my god.
we're good.
Well,
we got
you know,
lots of plans, lots
we
of
do a
irons
lot
in
of
the
stuff.
fire.
We do a lot of stuff. But I had trouble because I had computer problems and I couldn't get to doing the editing for a while. And then I've been working on the book nonstop because I had to have some version of that book out to coincide with the release of this movie. And I still only kind of accomplished that.
Well, you got it. It's on the Amazon. It's proof.
Yeah, and I'm almost done with the full version, which will come out in another week or so, and that'll be that. And I can put that to bed for a while and be concentrating on some of this other stuff. Work on my other Star Wars books.
Yeah. If anything, actually watch it tonight, Lynn. There's going to be a lot to talk about for the next couple of months, I think. It's a lot of fun stuff.
I'm gonna go to work and say to the girls, I watched Star Wars, and they went, is that the one with the, them Jedis in it?
Porgs? Porgs? You know
Or,
porgs?
no, I said to someone that I was going to get Chewbacca shoes, and they said, what's that? I said, have you seen Star Wars? And they said, no.
Like,
So,
It's like I'm sorry,
Never
when
mind.
did the doctor say it'd go away?
yeah,
That sounds
they
like it.
no idea what I'm talking about. It's awesome.
oh well. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you for 10 great years
Yeah.
of TV Ate My Dinner. We hope you had a good year this year and have a happy holiday. I'll definitely have this episode out this weekend just because it is a Christmas end of the year wrap up, and then try to bust out some other episodes pretty quickly as we
Yes,
go.
I
If we
apologize
can
for my
ever-
air conditioning, but it's 40 degrees here, so.
I don't hear it, so maybe we're okay.
4 degrees sounds cold to us, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Get a real measurement system, you guys. Mine's
Oh,
a
was
measure things.
is that Celsius? Is that what you're at?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
kilo
same
grade?
way that
temperatures?
everybody else does. Get some metric into you.
Everybody else but Americans.
Here in America, the empire, we follow the imperial system. Okay.
Well, we also say America and everyone else. That is also our nomenclature. All right. I don't know how to stop.
Just
My
stop.
name is Sean.
Stop.
My name is Andrew.
And
That's
Lynn.
Lynn. They're all a little
We're
off.
done.
Damn it. Happy 2017.
Happy birthday.
And to all, a good night.
Yeah.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Inuits. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
Dog crazy.